Well, it's been a big week of jostling for positions in Canberra. Albanese, of course, appointed his ministry. Ed Cusick and Mark Dreyfus out. Michelle Rowland, the new Attorney-General, God help us. The Libs have a new leadership team with Susan Lee and Ted O'Brien. And, of course, Nationals leader David Littleproud fought off a challenge from Queensland Senator Matt Canavan for their leadership. And the Nats could well be in the box seat to make some demands now, given that the Liberal Party hemorrhaged 13 lower house seats and the Nationals didn't lose any. They only lost one Senate seat, which was third on the coalition ticket in New South Wales. So now they'll have to negotiate a new coalition agreement, and there are potentially major disagreements between the Libs and the Nats over things like net zero. And National Senate leader Bridget McKenzie has gone so far as to say that a coalition agreement is not a foregone conclusion. Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is one of the people who picked up a new job this week, the Nationals' newly appointed Deputy Leader Kevin Hogan. Kevin, welcome. Could we be in a position now where the Nats can't find enough common ground with the Liberal Party to form another coalition?
Look, it's certainly a scenario, Caleb. That being said, I know that I spoke to David this morning and yesterday, and Bridget McKenzie as far as leadership goes, and indeed the will of the Nats party room is to sign a coalition agreement. That being said, we won't sign it just to sign it. I mean, there's a lot of different asks and requests that we'll have in that, besides obviously how many shadow cabinet positions and what they may be, a lot of perfunctory and process things through the parliament as well that we'll want to have better access to. So, look, we're going with the intention, but there's certainly a scenario where it doesn't get signed.
Of course, if the Liberal Party ever wanted to form government again, they would need the support of the Nats in order to do it. They're never going to win enough seats on their own because, of course, you have a stranglehold mostly over the regions. So if you didn't sign a coalition agreement while you're in opposition, if it came to a position where you could form government as a coalition, would it potentially put you in the box seat to make more demands?
Well, I would have thought so, and I say again too, Caleb, I think it's good if we do sign an agreement. I think the opposition is stronger if we sign a coalition agreement. I think when in government and the coalition is strong, we have the best government we can for Australia. So that's my starting point. But yes, look, we've got fairly modest requests in what we've put into it. If they don't accept it, the Liberal Party don't accept it, and then need us to form government later, then obviously I think the asking price will go up. So I think it's in their interest to sign it as well.
What are your asking prices to sign a coalition agreement this time around? I mean, obviously there are discussions going on within your party room at the moment about net zero and whether or not you continue with that. The Libs will be having those discussions as well, and Susan Lee left that open the other day. She said nothing is on or off the table. What's the grab bag that you will be taking to the Liberal Party and saying these are the non-negotiables?
Well, Caleb, I'd love to tell you, but it's never a good idea to show your poker hand to everyone in the crowd watching the game. So, look, I won't go through all that. But look, obviously some of it would be obvious about what shadow cabinet ministries we will get, how many, outer ministries, assistant ministers as well. Again, even process things in the parliament are important. Question time, MPIs, staffing, all those type of things are all part of it as well. And on the policy front, there'll be some regional things that we've already negotiated, the Regional Future Fund and others like that we will want to stay as well. Which has been negotiated over many different leaders and times. So, it'll be there'll be a fluid document, but we think all the ask will be quite reasonable.
I know that the Liberal Party room is bigger because they have more senators, but it would not be unfair to say that the Nationals are effectively the opposition after the result we saw a couple of weeks ago. I mean, you didn't lose any lower house seats. They lost 13. You nearly took Bendigo. So clearly the product that the Nationals are putting out is far more saleable and successful than the ones that the Libs have been selling.
Well, Caleb, I say this as humbly as I can. I mean, we haven't lost a lower house seat in the House of Reps federally since 2007. And we've won seats back from independents since then. We've won seats back from the Labor Party since then and haven't lost them as we've been drifting out of government as part of the coalition. So, look, but having said that, I want the Liberal Party to be successful. There's no point us hanging on, doing well in the regions if the Liberal Party are disappearing on the other end of it and we never form government. So we obviously share a lot of values, we share a lot of ideals. That being said, the Liberal Party's a broad church. When they bring us in, there's even a broader church. So there's always contentious issues that we need to resolve. But you know, this is a defining moment too. You know, I think Susan would look to be looking to sign a coalition agreement. I think it's in her interest for her leadership, and we want to. But again, certainly not a done deal.
Well, surely there are some lessons, should you sign an agreement, that you would want the Liberals to learn from this election and perhaps take from you.
Yeah, look, and again, there's different perceptions on different issues. I mean, you know, the nuclear one, for example, Caleb, has been brought up a lot in interviews and people that have been speaking to me since the election. And I've said to people, look, as Nats, we had 3 electorates where there was a proposed nuclear power station going to be built. In those 3 seats, 2 of the MPs had swings to them, and 1 just stayed neutral. I was on pre-poll for 10, or handing out how to votes for 10 days, pre-poll including election day. Virtually no one came up to me and brought up nuclear. Well, I didn't think it was that hot an issue. People came up and brought up other things, but nuclear certainly wasn't one in the regions, at least, that that appeared to me to be a contentious issue. Certainly, Labor Party operatives were trying to make it so, but you know, your normal mum and dad voters certainly didn't seem to think it was a big issue.
Well, and this is one of the things that I think the Libs will be wrestling with now, is whether or not they continue with the policy of nuclear, and there will be people within the Liberal Party pushing to dump it. That would put you at great odds with them, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, again, I don't want to hypothesise too much yet, Caleb. We haven't signed an agreement yet, so I don't want to almost sabotage it more by talking about contentious issues that we're going to have to resolve. But, you know, and I think it's healthy, and, you know, the Liberal Party will do this, we will do this as a coalition. You know, we should go through all our policies and go, OK, how do we think that rolled out with mum and dad out there in voterland? And I think it's healthy to do that. But certainly I'm just going on the feedback I had handing out. Nuclear wasn't a big one.
Indeed. Kevin, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Caleb.